It's just 1 week to Election Day, and so far, 47 million early votes have been cast in 43 states and the District of Columbia. In the battleground state of Michigan, early voting is smashing local records.
Democrats and Republicans alike see Michigan as a must-win state. This year's race may boil down to a few hundred votes in certain counties, perhaps none more important than Saginaw County. CBN's John Jessup traveled there to give us a sense of how the race is shaping up.
If Michigan ever questioned its place in presidential politics, the 2024 campaign puts any doubt to rest.
Thank you very much. Hello, Michigan. I love to be in Michigan.
Kamala Harris. Thank you. It's good to be with you guys.
As the election winds down, candidates are making frequent stops here with multiple visits to Saginaw County, about 100 miles northwest of Detroit.
Michigan's swing counties pretty much remained in the Trump column from 2016 to 2020, all but one. Saginaw was the lone county that flipped for Joe Biden, and both parties have been spending a lot of time and money trying to win it again in 2024.
I don't know about all of Michigan, but Trump will win Saginaw County like he did in 2016.
That bold prediction made by a former Obama supporter who now leads the GOP effort here. He's basing that on record donations, increased volunteers, and crossover voters traditionally aligned with Democrats.
Now here we are in the 2024 campaign. I got UAW for Trump T-shirts. People that work in those organizations are saying, I am tired of being silent.
And it's not just unions. Democrats face a mass defection from Michigan's large Arab population over the war in Gaza, a heightened concern after the Muslim mayor of a Detroit suburb recently endorsed Donald Trump.
How cool is that?
I know, it was really cool.
Eileen Pettinger, a retired firefighter turned party chair, tells CBN News Saginaw Democrats are also energized and believe any gap from the union or Arab voters will be filled by non-traditional supporters.
I have never seen Republicans and independents come into our office saying they can't vote for that man, that they want to donate, they want to volunteer, they want to door knock.
Political science professor Stuart French believes it'll be a tight race due to the issues residents here face, like declines in population and manufacturing.
So we usually are on the bad side of whatever statistic there is for the state. Anybody worth their weight is going to look at Saginaw County and go, this is an important county.
While pundits and pollsters predict the race here to be very close, both county party leaders told me they suspect their side might actually surprise everyone with a blowout, hoping picturesque Saginaw County will not only be a bellwether for the state, but for the nation as well.
We talked to voters on the first day of statewide early voting, which also includes a contested Senate race, which will factor into the chamber's balance of power. We found a range of viewpoints across the ideological spectrum about the candidates, the issues, down to voter integrity.
We usually do absentee, but I wanted to make sure it counted.
I want to make sure my voice is heard.
Trump just displays peace through strength.
And was there an overarching issue for you?
Women's rights.
As we were leaving the polling site, we captured a moment that defies the bitter division of this campaign cycle. Perfect strangers prioritizing the needs of others even before casting their ballot.
She's, limping and so in pain, and so, we're all Team Jesus.
I was out today campaigning, actually, and I fell and hurt myself, and when they offered, I'm like, yeah, I'll take prayer.
That's a moment.
That he's everywhere, and he's for us. He loves us, and he cares about our healing.
Even at an election polling site.
He never stops working.
A powerful example of turning faith into action and putting people before politics. John Jessup, CBN News, Saginaw County, Michigan.
That's a word for all of us, people before politics. Well, CBN Chief Political Analyst David Brody joins us now. So, David, 1 week to go. Where does the race stand?
Well, Gordon, the momentum is with Trump. For the first time since Kamala Harris got in the race, he's now leading. Okay, it's by 0.1%, but he's leading the Real Clear Politics national average. The reason that's bad news for Kamala Harris and Democrats is typically the Democrats are the ones that will lead overall, not just there, but nationally as well. And so if Trump is leading a Real Clear politics average, that's probably not a good sign nationally for Democrats. And also, Gordon, as you look into the crosstabs, and I did that early this morning, I think it was 5:12 a.m. Eastern. I'm in the crosstabs and I'm thinking, what kind of life do I have? But beyond all of that, as I look at the Siena New York Times poll, that's kind of the gold standard of polls. I looked at 2020, that same poll, and then 2024. In October of 2020, October of 2024, Trump, if you look at apples to apples, is up 20 points among men, 16 points among Gen Z, 17 points among Black voters. Hispanic voters, it's about 20% or 20 points. So if you look by any metric at all in the crosstabs, and that's where the race will be won ultimately, Donald Trump is doing better than he did in 2020, and that's a problem for Kamala Harris.
Are you predicting this is going to be a blowout? I've heard that Harris could actually win the popular vote, but in the Electoral College, it's going to be neck and neck. What's your take?
Well, Gordon, and here we are with predictions again. Boy, I don't like those prediction questions, but I will say this, that it appears to me, come from a spidey sense standpoint, that this feels 300 plus electoral votes for Donald Trump at this point, if folks get out and vote, that they want to get out and vote. That's going to be the key, and that gets to turnout. Look, the Democrats have a very good turnout operation. They've got about 300 headquarters all across the country with about 2,500 volunteers. It is top down. And it's very, very organized. Republicans are doing a different model, Gordon. They've got about 40,000 or so team captains. Each team captain has about 25 people or so underneath them. And then they're outsourcing a lot of the get out the vote effort to other groups. This is a different way to do it than what the traditional Democrat way has been. So we're going to see whose turnout method, if you will rule on election night.
Well, given 43 million votes have already been cast, it looks like it's going to be a record turnout and could possibly beat 2020 in terms of the number of people, which is really good. That means our democracy is quite vibrant. What do you think the closing argument for each candidate will be in this final week?
Well, the good news for Trump is that it's always been the same argument, make America great again. We all know the slogan. It was that in 2016, obviously a hiccup in 2020, and now back to 2024. It's that same type of theme that he can fix everything, so to speak. Okay, we take it with a grain of salt, but you get the idea that it is make America great again. For Kamala Harris, to be quite frank, it started with hope, joy, and vibes, but it's led to Trump as a threat to democracy again. Remember, this is what Biden tried to do, Gordon. Wasn't working. Kamala Harris got in the race with hope, joy, and vibes. That quickly dissipated after about 60 days or so, and now they're back to a closing argument of Trump is a fascist, don't you dare vote for him. Typically, voters don't go with the pessimistic message. They go with an optimistic one, and that's another problem for Kamala Harris.
Oh, let's fast forward a week. It's election day. What are the markers you're looking for?
I mean, there are so many, but let's just talk about some early markers on election night. I'm going to look in Lackawanna County. That's where Scranton, Pennsylvania is, where Joe Biden was from. That has been a Democrat, a reliable county. It's been going more Republican recently. So if Donald Trump can do better, he might lose the county, but if he can do better in Lackawanna County in Pennsylvania, that's something I'm looking for early. In Georgia, the black vote, key down there. 30% of voters down there are black. I'm going to look in those Atlanta suburbs where about 60% or so of the vote in all of Georgia is determined. That's going to be important. And then Gordon in North Carolina as well. The Research Triangle area, the Raleigh area, college-educated voters, so many in that specific area of North Carolina. Kamala Harris has to run up the numbers there. If she's not doing that, and the numbers are good but not great, that's a problem for her early on.
Any prediction for the day after? Are we going back to 2000 and hanging chads and we can't figure out who won? Or are we going to have a clear winner?
You know, from an empirical evidence standpoint, at this point, once again, getting back to the nerdy crosstabs figures, I don't see this being actually close. And what I mean by that is that you could have one of the candidates, and at this point it appears like it could be Trump, winning 6, maybe even 7 of all battleground states. If that's the case, he's going to be at about 300, 312, somewhere in there. electoral votes, which would be considered, especially in this day and age, a landslide. So I don't necessarily see all of the lawsuits developing. Having said that, are there going to be lawsuits? Yes. Are there going to be recounts? Sure. But ultimately, kind of from a macro standpoint, this could get real ugly quickly for Kamala Harris and the Democrats.
Okay, well, next prediction, and I'm going to ask for another prediction. I know you love it. When does the race for 2028 start?
It started about a month or two ago. Yeah, look, but I will just say this, that what's interesting here, Gordon, is, and we'll talk about this ad nauseum for the next 4 years, but when Donald Trump leaves the scene, you got J.D. Vance, Vivek Ramaswamy on one side, the populist wing, kind of the Trump mantle folks. Then you've got Nikki Haley and Mike Pence hoping to bring the Republicans back to that conservative, Ronald Reagan days, if you will, more traditional conservatism. That's the battle ahead for the Republicans.
You left out a governor from Florida.
I did. You know what? So many names, so many numbers in my head. I can't keep them straight. Oh, yeah, Ron DeSantis. I've heard of him. Yes,
Okay.
him too.
All right, well, it'll keep you busy. It'll keep us all busy. But there was a collective groan from the studio when I said, when's the race in 2028? We're all kind of sick and tired of politics. It would be really nice to get into actually governing the nation and leading the world. That would be something to look forward to. David, thanks for your insights. And again, I'll keep asking you for predictions. So
Okay.
keep up the good work.
Fair enough.